Hello again, welcome back everyone. Liquorhound here with you. Thank you for joining me once again for another spirit review video. And today we're going to be taking a look at some WhistlePig rye whiskeys. We're going to start over here with the standard, the one that got us started for them, the 10-year-old 100 proof bottling. Then we're going to jump into some single barrel store picks. This one coming out of Houston, Texas from Blind Pig Liquors, bottled at 107.2 proof. And then we're going to finish off with a New Orleans pick coming to us from Martin's Wine Cellar, bottled at 119 proof. Now, price point on these. The sad thing is they're roughly about the same price. $75, right around there. Even for the standard 10-100. Me personally, for that money, I'll go ahead and do a single barrel pick a lot of times. Just because I like the higher proof and the ability to add 1 drop, 10 drops, 20 drops, whatever, it's my decision. I prefer that over having it already done for me. Alright. One other thing to note, WhistlePig, of course, sources from different places. A lot of times the original one was all coming from Canada, Alberta Premium Distillery. A lot of the single barrels are still coming from Canada, but now they're also sourcing the 95% rye mash bill coming out of MGP. So when you look at farm stock, that's MGP distillate with some of their own, because they started distilling a few years back. It's young, but they're blending that in to create farm stock. The Old World 12 is MGP distillate. Some of the new Black Prince is also going to be MGP distillate. So I like to look at the back label when I see a bottle, and like I said, I'm starting to see this on single barrel, so I'm really careful about that now, because I prefer the Canadian profile, that 100% rye Canadian. And so I look and it'll say product of Canada, or produced in Indiana, or stuff like this. This one says imported from Canada. That's fine, but that's what I'm looking for. So if you see it and it says produced in Indiana, it's MGP, and it's going to be a little different if you're used to this profile, okay? It's not to say it's bad, it's just different. It depends on what you prefer, right? Now, another little quick note for you to know is when you go in and you see a store pick of WhistlePig, talk to the owner, or talk to whoever did the pick, because a lot of times I have a few more details about that barrel that may not be listed on the bottle. For example, this Blind Pig Liquor 10-year-old that's age stated on the bottle is actually a 13-year-old. They're not going to change the label to and get a whole new label approval for that, so it's 10-year-old technically, but it is 13, so it does give a different profile, a different feel to this rye than you find in normal single barrel WhistlePigs. So talk to them. You might find one that's 13-year-old, and like I said, definitely see if you can taste it before you buy it. If they won't let you taste it before you buy it, it's kind of odd. But maybe just buy 1 bottle, see how it is. If you really enjoy it, then you can go back and get a second or third or whatever. But let's go ahead and get to the nosing and tasting, starting with the standard 10-100. Nice, pretty sweet. Wow, okay, it's pretty sweet. It's got a caramel on the nose, some red fruits, a little bit of a doughy yeastiness coming through as well. A little bit of orange peels, dried orange peels, a little clove, a lot of cinnamon in here, and a little bit of oak is what I get on that one. But overall, it's pretty tame on the nose. 100 proof. It's not over the top. 107.2 for the Blind Pig here, 13-year-old. This is a whole nother level. This thing is a ton of dried orange peels, orange oils coming through. A lot of clove. This one is a lot more clove than even the cinnamon. Some little cocoa chocolatey note. And I would say instead of caramel, it's almost like a brown sugar, almost a molassesy sweetness on the nose. But you can't get past that huge amount of orange oils and clove. That's the dominant aromatics here. If you search in behind those, you can kind of pick up some red berries in there. But man, there is some domination going on there. All right. Now, for the Martin's Wine Cellar, 10-year-old, 119. Very, very sweet on the nose. This one is a ton of caramel. The spice and the sharpness of the whiskey at 119 isn't too bad. You can get pretty close in on this glass. Of course, always with your mouth open, breathe through your nose and your mouth to help cut this. But searching around, you can definitely get a lot of red berries on this one. Raspberries and cherries in particular. A little bit of that dried orange peel in there behind that. A good combination of clove and cinnamon on this one. This one seems a little more in balance, a little more in tune with what you would expect with a Canadian rye at 119. On the back end, I'm searching. It's a little bit of there's a little oak, and maybe a little bit of, what is that? I guess that is a little bit of the cocoa in there as well, but it's just so buried underneath everybody else. The sweetness up top is just, that's what's really big there. All right, but let's go ahead and get to the tasting. Starting back with the 10-100. Let's see how this is. Okay. Pretty good balance. It is transitioning a little bit. Wow, yeah, it's turning. That's weird. Okay. So this one, the way it starts out, it kind of enters medium viscosity, medium amount of sweetness. It's kind of caramel. Wow, it's ramping. It's kind of caramel, driven at first. You get a quick little flash of berries, but it's not very much because the cinnamon sharpness just starts to just intensify on the mid palate, and you get this driving of cinnamon swelling onto the mid palate, getting into the hot range here before rolling over. And as it rolls over, it kind of loses all the sweetness right about then, and you start rolling over into some bitter like cocoa powder, or a little bit of like a roasted coffee bean element, kind of drying things out on the back end. Now on the back finish, you tend to start getting, then you get a little bit of a leathery and oak resin type thing going, but it's lost all the sweetness from the front. So while this one does transition, it doesn't, it changes to a real dry bitter aspect. So you get sweet and then dry bitter. I do like the leather note on the back end. I'm still chewing on that, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. I just wish the sweetness from the front kind of just went a little further on it to help balance out all the bitter and dry on the back end. But not a bad, pretty complex for that, all right? I wish the price point was down on the regular 10-100, okay? All right, now, Blind Pig Liquor, 13-year-old. Again, with that just orange and clove, it's ridiculous. All right. Yeah, big shift from here. Wow. Okay. Medium high viscosity. Enters with a ton of orange oils, clove. Wow. Cinnamon is underneath the clove, but that big orange, and then just getting right here on the mid palate, the intensity of everything swells. So it does not just the cinnamon driving, it's the orange and the clove kind of swell with a little bit of cinnamon underneath on the mid palate. Then you get cocoa powder coming in on top, leather as well, rich leather note coming in here, tobacco note coming in here on the back end on the finish. Wow, yeah, that's amazing. And then as it finishes, you start getting a little bit of oak in there as well, but it never lost the sweetness throughout. It kind of like, and it's not too sweet, it's like a moderate sweetness, but it lingered through the whole thing, and everything kind of amplified and then just kind of faded away, and it was just, that's delicious. A great pick there. Again, if you're in the stores, see if you can taste their single barrel picks. Some of these are just amazing whiskeys, and if you find one, yeah, might want to add a few to that shopping cart. All right, WhistlePig 10 coming out of New Orleans, and Martin's Wine Cellar at 119 proof. Very sweet. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's very different, but it is very good. It's medium, just above medium on the viscosity. Definitely more viscous than this one. Not quite this one, but the sweetness, the caramel up front is just big. And then you get red fruits. You do get a ton of red fruits dropping in. Again, berries. All right, a little probably more cherry than raspberry here, but it's not an artificial cherry, which is definitely good in my opinion. And then before you can even start to really focus in on those, then that cinnamon and a little bit of clove kind of balancing together, kind of starts swelling. And they slowly roll over. This one at 119 has some long-lasting mid-palate and into the finish. Sweetness, a ton of sweetness up front, and it definitely carries through to the finish. There is a little bit of orange, dried orange peel, orange oils in this one, but it's below the caramel, below the red fruits. Again, clove, cinnamon now kind of joining, getting a little bigger. Still chewing on red fruits. The caramel sweetness still rolling. Now here, right here on the back end, now I'm starting to get a little bit of a bitter cocoa on this one. And a hint of leather. Yeah, it's like a hint of leather, maybe a hint of tobacco as well. But they're just so minute, it's just hard to get the real feel for them. I would say this one personally kind of feels more like what you expect a Canadian rye to be. Sweet, caramel, they tend to all be like that and when they're good. And then you get that flash of red fruit, you get a good balance of clove and cinnamon. Wow. With a little bit of the leather, a little bit of the cocoa on the back end. But that said, 13-year-old Canadian rye must be the ticket. This one right here, yeah, that's the one I just keep wanting to drink. But again, when you're out there hunting, I hope you're seeing these on these store shelves. Like I said, take some of these notes, taste them, check the back label to see where they're made. If you can't taste them, just again, buy one. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Everybody keep leaving those great comments. I'll try to answer them if you have any questions as quickly as I can. Don't forget, you can always follow me at my Facebook page, Liquorhound. Catch me on Twitter and Instagram occasionally at Liquorhound as well. Thank you again. Everybody have a great evening, and cheers.